Hi, this is Phoenix, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a book that I published about a year ago. It is my poetry book called Pocket Words. I like Pocket Words because it is one of my most simplest works. It isn't even that long, it's not even 100 pages, and yet it's certainly one of my most nuanced and subtle. The poems in Pocket Words are interesting because I wrote a lot of the poems when I was manic, um, or at least in a very difficult mindset. Often my nights were troubled by the inability to fall asleep, by a racing mind. And so to calm myself, I wrote a lot about, or I wrote down poems during this mindset. I remember my poem My, which is the very first poem in the second section called A Singular Definition of Minimalism, Pocket Words. I remember writing that poem after I had gotten like no sleep during the night and was up at around 5 or 6 and was walking around where I used to live and just writing the poem on a slip of paper. It was basically a bank slip, and I remember writing that poem. And that kind of kick-started this collection. But the collection itself is also a celebration of minimalism itself, minimalism as found in art, as well as minimalism in general, the ability to write micro, the ability to write small. And many of these poems are less than 50 words. Anti-materialism is 4 words, and 5 words if you count the title. These poems are very short and brief and concise, and that was the idea. That was what I wanted to do with the poems. I also wanted them to be free of the kind of first-person narration. I wanted them to be more objectivist in a sense, and I feel like I've accomplished that with these poems. There's a lot that I could say about it, but I'll keep this talk simple. I'm really excited because I've been able to do some fun stuff with this collection of poems. There are 2 videos on my YouTube channel. There is Fracture, as well as Timed Immemorial. Those were short pocket films that I made with my friend Preston. They're very short and very to the point. And I hope that you'll watch them. They're certainly very professionally done. And I hope that you'll watch them. They're a cinematic treat, as well as a literary and poetic treat. I remember writing this poem, writing this collection, and publishing it last year when I was thinking about how much I was struggling with my mania all of that time, and how last year, about a little bit over a year ago, I had suffered a lot. And so I remember having very vivid and visceral kind of images and memories in my mind as I was thinking about my book Pocket Words and kind of promoting it at the time, because it had just come out. And I remember thinking about various things such as the nature of change, as well as how much life changes in general. And it was all very interesting to think about, because I realized how far I had come as a writer, and how I was very glad that I could put out a book of poems with such an interesting kind of diversity and dynamic. The last thing I'll say is I remember having a really good time reading the final poem, which is less than minimal, and yet minimal in style. It's called Conception Construction, and this is a fun poem to do. It's definitely taken after the language poets as well as conceptual poetry itself. And I remember reading that in front of friends, and how much I really enjoyed doing that poem. And so that's a very good memory that I have. Anyway, you can find the book Pocket Words on my Amazon page at amazon.com/author/phoenix_rises. I hope that you will pick up a copy. It's available in print as well as Kindle. I hope that you'll get a copy, and I really appreciate you listening to this talk. This is Phoenix, and thank you for your time.